Manchester City show their mettle. Cristiano Ronaldo remains as salty as ever. Kylian Mbappe is still on fire, and we've got a roundup of the day's transfer rumours. That and more coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the One Footballers, and this is the Daily News. First up, it's last night's Champions League action, where after the Schalke against Manchester City game, Pep Guardiola warns that his side cannot win the Champions League if they continue to make stupid mistakes. He's referring to the 2 penalties and the red card that Manchester City gave away, which meant that they had to then go on a late crusade to draw level in the 85th minute before Raheem Sterling tucked in the winner in injury time. This means, however, that Manchester City do head back to the Etihad for the second leg with 3 goals and a win in the first leg. This was something that Guardiola was happy about in the press conference afterwards, but obviously he's not too happy with Nicolas Otamendi. 2 stupid yellow cards and, well, he got himself sent off, meaning he won't be available for the return leg. However, despite Guardiola obviously being disappointed at the mistakes yet happy with the win, Manchester City are doing what champions always do, which is winning ugly. Now, I'm not saying they necessarily had a bad game. They were obviously more dominant than Schalke, but when you do stupid mistakes and when you're on the cusp of losing, you can pull it back. That is a sign of champions. Alex Ferguson and Manchester United were the absolute kings of this. Even if they were playing shockingly and not dominating the game like Man City would, they would grind out a disgusting 1-0 win. I'm saying disgusting in the terms of footballing terms, however, they still picked up 3 points and they went on to win so many trophies, all because of that unique quality. It's for that reason that Manchester City are still, along with Barcelona, my favourites for the Champions League this season. But to the other night's Champions League game, and Cristiano Ronaldo is far from happy, and to be honest, who can really blame him? Throughout the game against Atletico Madrid, back at the former arch rivals of his former club Real Madrid, he was taunted, he was booed, he was called names, all sorts of stuff was brought up, but best of all, Ronaldo just retaliated in the way he knows how, being a cocky little Throughout the game, whilst receiving the abuse, he threw up his hand to indicate that 5 was the amount of times that he has won the Champions League. This obviously led to far more abuse from the Atletico Madrid fans, and they would have had it so sweet when they scored 2 goals within the last 25 minutes to go on and win the game 2-0. This obviously annoyed Ronaldo even more, so when he was walking through the mix zone where all the press gather after the game, he walked through saying, "I've won 5 Champions League, Atletico Madrid have won none." Now, I know this is a little bit salty and he's obviously annoyed because Juventus have lost, but this is brilliant Ronaldo. To be honest, I absolutely love it because he's got a point. He has won 5, Atleti have won no Champions Leagues, and to be honest, he can just do what he wants. I'm not saying that in the sense of in the real world, but in the footballing world, he pretty much can stroll around the pitch because he has won absolutely everything and is one of the best players of all time. I know people will get annoyed and say, oh, Ronaldo's arrogant, he's this, he's that. Atleti fans and then the other fans, you haven't really got a leg to stand on. If Messi was doing the same, I'd love it just as much. These players have gone on, done what they've done, won what they've won, so they can show it off. And next up to someone who hasn't won absolutely everything yet, although I believe he will go on to completely smash every single record. He's already broken one of his own this season by bagging 20 goals in a league campaign for the first time ever. It's Kylian Mbappe. Not content with scoring the second against Manchester United in the Champions League knockout or giving his side a winner against Saint Etienne, he also put the icing on the cake last night as PSG demolished Montpellier 5-1. If you haven't seen the game, check out the highlights. There's also a banging free kick from Angel Di Maria in there. But back to Kylian Mbappe, he has now scored 20 goals this season and 25 in all competitions. This is after scoring 15 last year and 13 the year before for Monaco. He did win Ligue 1 that season and he has won the World Cup. However, the Champions League still evades him. This may stay the case though at PSG, as they always seem to get knocked out when it comes to the tough games later on in the competition. They've never made it past the quarter-final stage. However, with the impressive performance against Manchester United last week, I think they could go a little bit further this season, especially if Neymar returns from injury quicker than expected. As for Ligue 1 at the moment, well, that was one of PSG's game in hands. That's why they were playing last night. They still have one more game in hand on Lille and are 15 points clear, meaning they've pretty much sewed up the title already. And lastly but not least, we come to a roundup of the day's transfer news, where obviously the rumours mills are still spinning because, well, the newspapers have got to sell their papers somehow. Anyway, moving on to the transfer news. First up, Manchester United are preparing a huge bumper new deal for Marcus Rashford, which could last him about 6 years. Elsewhere, if Bayern Munich don't make a move for Callum Hudson-Odoi in the summer, PSG are waiting in the wings to swoop in. Barcelona and Arsenal could go head-to-head for Lyon sensation Houssem Aouar, and with Moussa Dembele leaving Tottenham in January, they've turned their attention to Roma midfielder Steven Nzonzi to replace him in the summer transfer. So that's all from me for today. Make sure you smash the like button down below and let me know in the comment section what you thought of all of last night's action. Is Kylian Mbappe really going to go on to be the best striker? Can Ronaldo help his Juve side turn it around? And are Manchester City winning ugly? And does that mean that they're going to go on and win the Champions League title altogether? Of course, let me know your thoughts down below, and you can also click here or here to check out all of the other videos that we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later. I tried to catch some fog earlier, missed.
Go on, tell me again.